we all who are working in grassroots level, are in contact with sex workers and also sex work activists in all Nordic countries. Finland is abolitionist country. The legal framework follows abolitionist policy. So almost everything in sex work scene, prostitution and around prostitution is criminalized. So it's only a small part which is not criminalized, and that's selling sexual services independently. But the pimping law is really wide. It includes almost everything. Third parties activity like renting rooms for working premises, publishing ads and things like that. So it's very difficult to actually work legally in Finland, even if selling is not criminalized. People are trying to push that sex workers' rights message in a smaller space in public awareness. There is an eternal confusion or mix up sex work concept and trafficking, and this law is promoted by talking about trafficking all the time. Everybody is against trafficking, and if normally people are not thinking that much what is the difference between sex work and trafficking. One step forward would be open up the concept of prostitution, make a clear distinction between sex work, trafficking and exploitation. When you criminalize buying, then you criminalize their business. When they negotiate how much the service will cost and what it will include, it forces to take it in more clandestine, to hide it more and more actually causes enormous risks for violence and exploitation. Quite a lot of cases where sex workers' safety and rights are violated. They cannot find a place to live anymore because the landlords are accused for pimping and things like that. So we are trying to promote the policy that sending signals via criminal acts or penal code is always very dangerous, because it puts in this case sex workers even worse situation than they are now. Which amazes me is that there are also authorities who should actually promote equal rights for everybody. So they are also talking about that sex workers should not be heard because they are not representative. And I think that's very dangerous, that also people who should promote equality are actually promoting some minorities to be kept silent in our society. There are very strong feminist groups who promote the idea that prostitution as such is a violence against women, and sex work cannot be work. So it's kind of banned concept to talk about sex work, because there are lots of groups who think that it cannot be work, so nobody can use the concept sex work. The only role which is left for them is a victim role, and then somebody can come and rescue you. So they are not subjects, they are objects of rescuing. So that's I think the common attitude in Finland. There has been common policy that all Nordic countries kind of harmonize their policies, especially in social policy and welfare state practices. But it's still I think it's misleading to talk about a Nordic model or Nordic prostitution policy, because in all Nordic countries we have different policies. Migrant women, they told that, especially in Helsinki, that police department which takes care of public order treats them very bad. Not physically, but verbally insults, and the way they talk to them, and they threaten them by deportation and things like that. It was a little bit like ethnic profiling. They picked up people with different color, and when they heard some, for example, Russian language, they stopped and asked their papers and said that if I see you here again in 10 minutes, I will take you with me to police station and be prepared for deportation and things like that. If that public debate could be also capable to include labor rights in sex work, it could be one step forward to try to find the way how we could actually promote sex workers' rights and at the same time lower the risk of violence and discrimination and stigma. There is nothing good actually in that criminalization. It doesn't have anything to do with reality. It's a fantasy. It's a very idealized picture of what we can achieve with the criminalization. And it's more political statement, it's not a practical protection.